What if you could get back 10 to 15 hours a week without changing a single thing in your calendar? We're not going to do productivity sprints, and no, we're not going to cut your sleep in any way. Just one shift. Stop running your life from constant pressure, internal pressure. If your days are packed, but your output feels lower than what it should be, it's your nervous system. Today, I'm going to show you exactly where those 15 hours are hiding. The real problem isn't time. High performers don't waste time. You're likely not scrolling all day or dilly-dallying with things that don't matter to you. But somewhere in your day, there's energy leakage. And it sounds like this in your head. I just need to tighten this up. If I don't stay on top of everything, it will fall apart. I can't afford to drop the ball. I should be sharper than this. That internal pressure feels productive. It's not. Research from Dr. Amy Arston at Yale has actually shown that even moderate stress impairs the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for executive function, strategic thinking, impulse control, and decision making. When stress chemicals like norepinephrine and cortisol rise, then the brain shifts away from thoughtful planning and more towards reactive, habit-based patterns. And that shift can happen very quickly, within minutes of activation. When your system stays on alert and your brain shifts into control mode, you start scanning for mistakes, double checking, predicting reactions, managing everything before they even happen. And every bit of that pulls cognitive resources away from the work that actually moves the company forward. Clear decisions, strategic thinking, creative problem solving, delegation. And on the inside, it feels like urgency to you, irritability, mental fatigue, perfectionism. But that's not you being intense or over controlling. It's just your prefrontal cortex not functioning efficiently under stress. And that's where your hours start leaking from every single day, where the 15 hours actually disappear. There are two patterns I see over and over again. First, micro-controlling, rewriting something that was already good enough, taking longer on a decision because something feels slightly off, rechecking work you already reviewed, looping yourself into conversations your team could totally handle on their own, mentally rehearsing a hard conversation 5, 10, 20 times before having it. Each one feels small, 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there, but stack that across 5 days and you've lost an entire working day and more. Research on cognitive load shows that task switching and repeated error monitoring drains working memory. When you're constantly rechecking, you're not actually improving performance. You're increasing your mental load, and increased mental load slows decision speed. Second type, overfunctioning. This one's really tricky because it looks really responsible and it feels responsible on the inside. Saying yes before checking with yourself, absorbing the emotional load for your entire team, over-explaining so no one misunderstands you, avoiding a boundary and then replaying it over and over again in your head. There's a research on something called perseverative cognition, the tendency to mentally repeat, replay, or anticipate stressors. And studies show that simply thinking about potential problems can prolong the physiological stress. What you imagine, what you visualize, your brain doesn't know the difference. Even when the meeting ends, your body stays in that activated state. That ongoing activation keeps your stress chemistry elevated. And of course, elevated stress chemistry narrows your perspective. Now you're reacting to everything. Let's keep the biology simple. When you're operating from constant pressure, you switch tasks more. You second guess a lot more. You rest less deeply. You recover poorly, and you're more reactive. And stress research going back decades, including the research on allostatic load, shows that repeated activation without recovery accumulates biological wear and tear. It's pretty intuitive. In performance terms, that means more follow-ups, more clarification, more rework, longer meetings, lower quality decisions. You think you're operating at 100%. But chronic stress reduces cognitive flexibility and your working memory as well. Now you're actually working closer to 70%. And that 30% gap is where you're missing your 10 to 15 hours a week. Let's go a layer deeper here. A lot of high performers were rewarded early in life for being hyper responsible. Stress felt like rocket fuel, and control gave them a sense of safety and competence. And in the short term, stress can, yes, absolutely increase your alertness, but sustained stress doesn't enhance performance. It actually impairs it and caps it. And even the recent stress research continues to show the same pattern. Acute stress might sharpen narrow focus briefly, but ongoing activation reduces flexible thinking and increases rigid, habitual responses. You're losing time because your system doesn't feel safe unless it's managing everything. And management mode is slower than leadership mode. You got to have your hands in everything. When your nervous system settles, the prefrontal cortex come back fully. You make decisions faster and more precise too. Delegation feels better. Your perspective shifts. Meetings become shorter, and you stop over explaining yourself, rechecking, rehearsing. Nothing in your calendar changes, but everything takes less effort, feels like flow. And that's where your 10 to 15 hours come back. That's executive performance grounded in how you're actually built.